Hello there, Biakamuso desu and welcome to my review of Madison. So this is a horror game that a friend lent to me, and I was really looking forward to it because although I do love horror games, I feel like I've had few chances of playing them. And my most recent adventure has been with Resident Evil, which I'm loving to getting to know the series. And Madison is one of those more typical horror games it does separate itself a lot from Resident Evil. And it's a much shorter experience because it's much more linear. It's in a house also, so you have a very limited space. And yeah, let me tell you all about that experience because there are things that I enjoyed and things that I didn't enjoy so much. I will start, as always, by saying that this review will have spoilers, but I mean, what else would you think when you saw this video? So let's talk about the story. So the story is very simple. You take the place of the protagonist who's being possessed by a spirit. So you have moments where you start to see things around you a little bit blurry. Sometimes you faint altogether, or so you think, because those are moments where the spirit takes control of the protagonist's body. And of course you are the sane part, so you can't see what's happening during those times. I'm actually not really certain on what happens on the protagonist's side, because in the beginning of the game you are talking with the protagonist's father. Actually, I'm not clear on what age the protagonist is supposed to be, even. And you can't really understand if the father is something inside his head or if he really is there and he just decided to lock him up in his grandmother's house. You know, I'm kind of unclear on that. And the reason I'm unclear is, yes, I could research that, of course I could, but I wanted to give you this review with my impressions just by playing the game. And then you are stuck there. There are no other people around, and you are basically trying to get rid of this possessed spirit, but of course to no avail. It's already too late for you. The story then also has another plot line. So you have the interesting thing about this is that you have a lot of different elements. So you have the protagonist that is being possessed by a spirit. You know which spirit this is. It's a spirit called Blue Knees. The Possessed edition also has a little booklet. You can see my short video where I presented what the extra goodies the Possessed edition has. And the Blue Knees is this monster that basically lost his eyes and is doomed to forever be looking for them all around. And you know that the protagonist's grandmother was also afflicted by this spirit because she slowly started to lose her eyesight. And it got worse as it went. What I'm not clear is, her eyesight got worse, but I don't know if she's the same old lady, Madison, who was also killing people, because you also have a plot about a woman that was killing people and putting them in the well, and she would really mutilate the bodies. I feel like there's a lot of information coming at you, and I don't see what they are related to each other, how that's happening. But yeah, it was interesting nonetheless. I think one of my favorite moments in the game was a puzzle you had to do where you had to play gramophones that were scattered around the house until you found Blue Knees' eyes. And by the way, if you may be questioning why the hell he's called Blue Knees when he lost his eyes, it's because he would crawl on the floor trying to look for them, and he got blue knees from that, okay? Nothing too brainy about that. And you would play the gramophone and you would hear, I think it was supposed to be the protagonist's grandmother singing the Blue Knees song. And it's actually really well done. Sometimes the vibrato is a little bit exaggerated. I know it's trying to simulate fear, but sometimes I felt it was a little bit the same, the vibrato, very intense and very rhythmic, but that's something for another time. That's just me, my musician side, looking too much into it. But really well done. It was one of my, honestly, my favorite moments. I couldn't really understand if I was in any danger when I was doing that puzzle, because supposedly they could hear you, some threat, I guess, but I'm not sure because I was never caught from what I did. But well, I think the game is really well done. The one thing I struggled, I spent so much time lost in this game because I was so used to the Resident Evil logic of going into a room, gathering all the items there were, and if there aren't any puzzles, I would be done with that room. And I forget that in most horror games, there are stuff happening. So even if I went into this room and I collected all the items that were there, that doesn't mean I'm done with the room. It just means I may have to go around the house one more time and something will happen and suddenly something else pops up in that room. So I spent more time in the game than I needed to because I forgot that kind of logic. I was looking at a more realistic side of it and forgot this was more paranormal. One thing that this game brings is the mechanic of the camera. So you have a camera with you and you have to use it to sometimes change objects, make stuff happen, collect evidences, then see the pictures to see if they give you a hint, stuff like that. And at the beginning of the game I actually forgot that that was a thing, so there were times where I was lost and nothing would happen because I completely forgot I had to use the camera in certain places. And of course you also have a notebook where the protagonist will sometimes draw. He does these really crude drawings, but they are hints and the next step for you to go and further the story. And one thing I will complain, I'm not a fan of the silent protagonist mechanic, but at a certain point I actually got tired of the protagonist's comments because they try to give him a personality because yeah, you are the protagonist, but they also kind of establish him. And at the same time I was so tired because he would make the stupidest comments. Really, I understand I'm someone playing a game and I'm sitting comfortably in my house, but God damn it, really? There was a part, he went through so much stuff, seeing mutilated bodies, seeing horrendous creatures, monsters, whatever, going after him. And there's this one part where he's going through a narrow corridor and says, oh my God, it's handprints in blood. And I'm like, really? With everything you have seen, that's the creepiest part of this? So I got a little bit tired of the comments, but still I think the camera is a good mechanic. I think the atmosphere of the game was really well done. I will not say it was one of the worst horror experiences I had, because at the beginning I'm not really a jumpy person, I don't have much of a reaction, but I would react when I heard random noises, seeing if someone or something was coming after me. But then after a while I understood that they put sounds there just to keep you on your toes, and most of the times there was actually one time when the door actually slammed shut, but I was so tired of hearing so much noise around me that I completely ignored that, and I actually had to go through that door because it slammed shut, but because they opened the door so I would go able to further because I wasn't able to go in that room before. So please, take it down a couple of notches. But then again, the game was fun. I actually enjoyed the ending. I feel like it's a waste they don't have more than one ending according to what you do, but the game is pretty linear and yeah, you just end up being another sacrifice and yeah, everyone just dies. Yay! But I will recommend this experience. Madison was still an interesting game, a different experience for me, and I think it was worth it. I think there's not much to say. I will say, there was this enemy that actually made me kind of stressed, because there's one mechanic in horror games that I detest, which is being followed. And I hate the pressure, I hate the pressure of feeling that someone is coming after me. And you had this like plague doctor kind of figure, and he would do a very annoying and loud sound, and he actually made me kind of nervous when he was around. It was an interesting mechanic, but at a certain point I didn't feel like he was really a threat, because I would just go back to the beginning, but I would still have the stuff that I had with me before. So I felt like there were no consequences to the deaths, and I didn't even see a death animation. I would just see everything, the screen would just go black. So maybe it's something to feel like I have a consequence, because I would feel just like, oh, you just put me again in the beginning and now I'm gonna go through everything again. That kind of feeling. So it felt more frustrating than scary or creepy. Do you get it? But I do recommend, if you like horror experience, please give Madison a try. And if you want to see this kind of content, please check my Twitch channel. I'm always playing horror games, not horror games. I'm always playing a lot of different stuff. So thank you so much, and I hope if you like this video that you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe the channel if you still aren't doing that, and I will see you next time for more gaming content. See you!